You could be an Avenger.
Oh, I'm not a superhero. That is for billionaires and narcissists and adult orphans for some reason.
Whenever agenda overshadows creativity, the story immediately collapses and dies, driving away the fans. Now, Disney Plus's new She-Hulk trailer has arrived, and the legal comedy has one simple message. Women are better than men. And they're telling us now, shut up, give us your money, and consume product.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next products.
Welcome, everyone. I hope you're all having a great weekend. If you happen to be one of the few people who has yet to join George the Giant Slayer, I invite you to take a second and push the subscribe button down below. You know, right out of the gate, Marvel's She-Hulk trailer debuts as a meme. They have Emmy Award-winning actress Tatiana Maslany from Orphan Black fame starring as Mark Ruffalo's Smart Hulk's cousin Jennifer. She's an attorney specializing in superhuman law who's going to be charged with cleaning up all the legal mess left behind by the MCU's legendary big boys and bad guys. But I have a feeling that Marvel is positioning Tatiana to slowly take over for Brie Larson as the poster girl for the MCU's Phase 4 agenda.
Is that like a personal attack or something? Or is that a request?
But it doesn't matter. Regardless of all that, Jennifer undergoes a life-altering change with the ability to transform into a Hulk. Yet, according to her, having to learn to control her temper and anger isn't something she only does once every 28 days. Because in 2022,
your transformations are triggered by anger and fear.
Those are like the baseline of any woman just existing.
Now that is a scene worthy of Kathleen Kennedy herself, if I've ever seen one, to inaugurate the upcoming She-Hulk series on the small screen. But all that aside, She-Hulk looks like a poor imitation of an oversized Fiona from Shrek, with a roar to match. It's like they copied it from a kitten with a cold.
Yes! Yes!
And the production is an empty-headed ego trip of rubbery, elastic, fake, bad CGI effects. And last but not least, Hollywood would never forget to inject the message into any series.
Oh, should we split some fries?
But put that all aside. See, the Mouse House should have delivered to everyone a fun-filled romp and stomp chamber gushing with adventure, romance, and escapism. The MCU should be the standard, the benchmark for any streaming series. It should be the gold standard for television, doing it right and doing it big. But is that what they're doing? No, they should be bringing in together the dream team from the film side of the studio. But they're not doing that. Instead, they're delivering the same old CW-style comedy that we've suffered to year after year, ever since Ghostbusters 2016 killed storytelling and offered up in its place, only to go full vagina. But none of that matters right now, because what Tatiana is doing, well, she's not going to suffer alone, because Jennifer She-Hulk, while she's discovering her powers, well, Marvel has thrown in one of those sarcastic friends. You know, a sidekick to give her sage advice.
Can we get some shots, please? It's an emergency.
And while she's dispensing green justice, She-Hulk will carry the Disney flag to smash the patriarchy to smithereens.
We just started a superhuman law division, and I want you to be the face of it.
Joining her will be an entire peanut gallery of groupies, a brigade of beta males to sing her praises while their wives bang the pool boys with their full consent.
Girl, your ass looks crazy right now.
Marvel, instead of relying on this poor CGI that they farmed out all over the world, they should have just simply painted Tatiana and Grey and then threw on some prosthetics like they did Zoe Saldana's Gamora.
This wasn't the plan.
But here we are. What do you think the MCU is doing? They are continuing the tradition that they've started in Phase 4 to take their greatest heroes, their greatest champions, then emasculate them before they imitate and gender swap the legends. We've already seen it started. Disney, one by one, is transitioning all the alpha male archetypes. It began with Captain America, and then we got Captain Carter. Then they took the magnificent and malevolent and magnetic Loki, and they neutered him and gave us Laufey, Son in Love. And then we have mighty Thor transforming into Jane in cosplay, but still wielding Thor Odinson's stick. Marvel, Marvel, Marvel. I thought you would learn your lessons from the days when you solely depended on comics, when you went bankrupt. Marvel, I hoped, would take the best of the best and leave the worst on the colored pages. But they're just not doing it. And I think this is a trap that Kevin Feige has found himself in. See, for whatever reason, I do not think he realizes that if he and his friends in the Hollywood Hills are actually successful in changing the culture and canceling it and recreating this perfect ideal that their ideology believes in, that he will have effectively burned down his own kingdom. And one day Feige will be forced to fire himself. None of these guys are thinking about it. And you can see the proof in the She-Hulk trailer, Turning It Low. What is she doing? This is Disney's version of catnip for the Marvel stans and the intolerant class. It's a gift to them to gush over week after week. And again, I'm baffled why Feige is all of a sudden seeming like he's following in the footsteps of Kathleen Kennedy, because every recipe she has leads to disaster. I mean, take a look at any entertainment magazine over the last couple of weeks. What does it read? R.I.P. Star Wars is dead. Kennedy, the head of Lucasfilm, is not a mentor to model, but a stink to avoid. Now, I got a serious question for you. Is anyone actually interested in watching a power suit wearing Amber Heard, minus the looks, transform into the MCU's bad CGI version of an anorexic She-Hulk speed dating on Tinder? Because if you're not, all that's left is the story. And that was hijacked a long time ago by the culture war. And that to Hollywood means that if you do not dot your I's and cross your T's exactly to the letter of their dogmatic ideology, then they immediately will generalize you and lump you as an enemy. And that's exactly what they do to men. They have branded men as wormy, weak-willed weasels, while at the same time they idolize all women in this pantheon of Amazons as the preeminent intellects of power and strength.
You want to show me how to punch? Show me.
That's how you punch.
Now, if that happens to be your cup of tea, by all means, enjoy. But we do have some good news, because there's always good news. Marvel decided this time to drop all the fakery, to dispense with all the pretense. There's no bait and switch in this trailer. Nope, no three-card Monty shell game to slowly draw you in like they did with Loki and Hawkeye, believing that you're about to go on this adventure where you're going to follow in the hero's journey that Joseph Campbell wrote about years ago that has given us so much movie magic. Nope, none of that is here. This time, the MCU lays all its cards on the table. And that means when you watch the She-Hulk trailer, you can see the message being telegraphed so loudly, so boldly, that you can tell right from the jump what the entire series will be about.
Your transformations are triggered by anger and fear.
Those are like the baseline of any woman just existing.
And that lets you know what to avoid. But if you still want to send Marvel a message and tell them that you're one of the people who still values substance and story over superficial ploys and shallow political games, then let your voice be heard. And you know how we do that. You remember that we never bow down, we never bend the knee. Firmly defined. Step up, stand tall, and get busy living your best life now. Always forward. You know, Hollywood has a lot of problems, but one of them I just talked about a couple of minutes ago. It's generalizing people. They generalize entire groups. But it baffles me all the time how they still have not learned this lesson. I learned it from my mother when I was about 15 years old. See, to Marvel and the Hollywood studios, these big mega corporations that run the entertainment industry, if you don't toe the line with their philosophy, you're branded an enemy. Well, when I was 15 years old, this new kid had transferred from public school into our school, and we had known each other, all of us in the class, since kindergarten. So it was the first time we had, a stranger who became part of the clique, part of the family. Well, he didn't know how to react to everyone. So within a matter of a few weeks, he decided to take the path of aggression. He's like, okay, I'm the alpha here. I'm going to be king of the hill. And so he started picking fights with everyone. Eventually, I was next on the list. So we got into a few scuffles. So one day, my mother picks me up. We go home. I go do my chores. I do my homework. I wash up, eat, and then go get ready to spend my hour of watching television for the night. And right as I was about to do it, my mother steps right in front of the television and turns it off. She did that thing that parents do, when they'll do an action while they're looking at you without explaining what they're doing, expecting you to be a mind reader. I thought it was about the fight. So I said, Mom, what's up? And she's like, no, it's not about the fight. You were defending yourself. That's fine. It's what you did after the fight. What you called that boy. Is it right what the headmaster told me? You called him some public school punk? I said, Mom, I was angry. What does it matter? Sticks and stones may break our bones, but words will never hurt us. She goes, that's not how I raised you. Who the hell are you to look down from your nose on another human being? And you wanted to lump and generalize him and all public school kids as something worse, as something lesser? I said, no. She's like, be quiet and listen. She goes, when you generalize somebody or any group, you remove yourself one step back from your humanity. And the same happens to them. You move from generalization to anger. So the other side, the other individual, they feel the same. They start feeling, wait a minute, they're not like me at all. They're part of X group. And now I'm angry at them. So she goes, you move from generalization to anger and from anger to isolation. Now both sides are angry and isolating themselves. And the next step is radicalization. And she goes, I did not bust my ass in order to send you to private school to give you a better life, only for you to throw it away by becoming a radical and having a horrible life. She goes, did you ever consider that boy, it's the first time he's been in your school and he was like a stranger in a strange land? I was like, no. She goes, well, you should have thought about that. But she goes, you're punished. For the next 3 months, you're grounded. No movies, no games, no television, no friends over, no going out. It's school, work, and homework. That's it. But I talked to his mom, and we both agree she's going to punish her child the same way. The only person you can talk to is him. You can have 15 minutes a day. And if you want to see each other on the weekend, you can. 1 day a week, 1 day at his house, 1 day at ours. I go, Mom, we're not friends. She goes, well, maybe you should get to know who he is. And over the next 3 months, we actually became friends, which lasted almost a lifetime. It's interesting. What my mom taught me about generalizing people, which turns to isolation and then turns to radicalization, it stayed with me till today. Hollywood could learn a lesson. They have their oiled message machine, but it's breaking down. They can only be government funded for so long. Eventually, they have to start turning a profit from the customer themselves. Well, maybe one day they'll step down from their towers and start reevaluating what's going on. Maybe one day they'll start communicating with the customer and giving them what they want. And maybe one day they'll actually learn to listen. Perhaps they'll make friends and bring back some of that magic we all miss.